one woman's foresight and common sense, a reinforced Candlestick Park protected thousands when the quake hit. Her innovative plan built and financed affordable housing. She started the Urban Conservation Corps to train disadvantaged youths, saved the cable cars, and signed the law making San Francisco the first major city to divest from South Africa. And she's the only candidate for governor, Democrat or Republican, with a plan to manage growth. She's Dianne Feinstein.
I'm Graham Ledger. Up next on Action News 8 at 5 o'clock in Soledad. The city's police chief is on administrative leave. We'll look at why. Also tonight, a changing of the guard at Fort Ord. And low tide. One of the lowest tides of the year means exposure to a whole other world. Jim with the Memorial Day weather forecast. Dell in for Dennis with a loss for the Warriors. And of course, they aren't even playing. Action News 8 at 5 is next.
KSBW 8. The news starts now. From the most watched station on the Central Coast, Graham Ledger, Jim Vanderswan weather, Dennis Lennon sports, Margot Myers health beat. Count on Action News 8 at 5.
Good evening. The city of Soledad's top lawman, the chief of police, is on administrative leave tonight. And what makes this time off so controversial is that the city won't even talk about it, and that it follows a citizen's complaint that some city property is missing. Action News 8's Maya Carroll has details tonight from the newsroom. Maya?
Graham, the resident who is making this complaint is asking to remain anonymous for now. The concern, what happened to dozens of bicycles that should be stored in the police department's lost and found? Now, Soledad city officials would only release this comment today that Police Chief Ben Jimenez is on administrative leave, and that because it is a personnel matter, the city wouldn't comment any further. A Soledad newspaper reporter confirmed today that the issue of how many bicycles were in the police lost and found did come up at a recent city council session, and that Jimenez said only a few and a local resident disagreed. Now, in response to questions today, City Manager Jorge Rifa said Chief Jimenez has not resigned. When asked about rumors that Jimenez gave away public property, Rifa said those rumors are unfounded as of now. City Manager Rifa would not say whether Jimenez is on leave by his own choice or whether he was asked to take some time off. In the meantime, Soledad's 9-man police department is continuing operations as usual, is being run by the second in command.
Maya, do you know how long he's been chief of police?
Yeah, Jimenez is considered really a fixture around town, 16 years on the police force.
Long time. All right. Thanks, Maya Carroll. Well, the first big holiday weekend of the upcoming summer starting tonight, and Salinas Police will spend their weekend conducting a sobriety checkpoint. Unfortunately, officials are saying the holiday usually means more drinking and driving and consequently more accidents. Action News 8's Joanne Merrigan is standing by live in Salinas right now with more. Joanne?
Well, Graham, for now, police are not saying where the checkpoint is going to be set up over the weekend. They just say that on holiday weekends, they definitely have a lot more problems with drinking and driving. More people are off work, more people are out on the roads. They say lots of times it just spells trouble. In Salinas, DUI arrests this year are up.
But the figures for 1988 versus 1989, 1989 is up 3% as a total. And so we want to impact as many of those as we can beforehand with news media attention to the continuing problem that it hasn't stopped. It goes up and down.
Officials say sobriety checkpoints and the publicity that surrounds them usually helps cut down on the drinking and driving problem, at least for a while. Again, Salinas Police, with the help of the Highway Patrol, are going to conduct a checkpoint in Salinas over the weekend. Again, they are not telling us where the checkpoint is going to be. We do know that it will likely be tomorrow night, Graham, and hopefully police say that this publicity will make drivers think before they get behind the wheel.
Yeah, hopefully so. Now, Joanne, this is nothing new. Salinas Police have done this before, haven't they?
Right. They've done at least 3 in the last 18 months. Usually stop anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 cars and make about a dozen arrests.
That's good impact. All right. Thanks, Joanne Merrigan. The highest commanding officer at Fort Ord said goodbye to his troops today as ceremony ushered in a change in leadership. Major General Carmen Caveza oversaw the deployment of his troops to Panama last December. His departure marks the end of a standard 2-year tour of duty here. Action News 8's Janet Wu was at the ceremonies today. She joins us live in the newsroom with more. Janet?
Graham, a 21-gun salute and much fanfare bade farewell to General Caveza today and ushered in his successor, Major General Jerry White. General White isn't a stranger to the Monterey Peninsula. He served as assistant commander of the 7th Infantry Division 2 years ago. He now assumes full command of that division, which is likely to be one of the first called up should an incident warrant such action.
My mission is to continue the focus on training, regardless of what happens in the future as the size of the Army shrinks, and we know we're going to go through some tough times, but we can't take our eye off the ball. And that ball is to be combat ready and be able to deploy on a moment's notice.
But General White is also taking over the reins at a military post that faces an uncertain future. The possible closing of Fort Ord is an issue still being battled out at Washington.
Indeed.
Grant?
Janet, what's the future for General Caveza?
Well, Caveza now moves on to Georgia, where he assumes command of Fort Benning there.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Janet Wu. The Gilroy Unified School District is preparing for the worst tonight. Word is the district will have to face a $1 million budget cut next year. It's estimated the governor's budget will cut nearly $4 billion in the next fiscal year. That means most school districts, including Gilroy Unified, will be forced to cut their budgets. School leaders say they've already made some changes at the administrative level, which will save the district already $500,000.
Plan to keep all of our teachers intact. My commitment and the board's commitment is to keep the classroom intact, no impact there. So that's why we've started with administrative cuts. But there may be some programs that might have to be either reduced or in some other way adjusted so that there are some savings.
No money cuts will actually occur until after the governor's budget is prepared. That will happen around the 1st of July. 2 injured Earth First members were arrested today, ironically, in connection with a bomb blast that ripped apart their car. Police say the 2 were apparently transporting the explosive device when the blast happened. They claim it went off accidentally. Reaction today from the Capitol.
It is what happens when violence is romanticized for whatever good cause. It's not something that is acceptable in a civilized society, not in our country, not in our state, and not in my district.
Both suspects are being held for investigation of possession and transporting explosives. One is in jail, the other still in the hospital. There are 2 confirmed deaths tonight in the crash of a military fighter jet in southern Georgia. The plane going down in a neighborhood in the small town of Pearson. Authorities saying the pilot died in the crash. The jet was an F-16. The aircraft slamming into several homes, and 1 woman on the ground was killed as it did. Many homes caught fire in that accident. The Air Force says the F-16 was on a training flight headed for Florida. The uncertainty surrounding the explosion of the USS Iowa is continuing tonight. This following the release of a congressional report. It says the Navy may be wrong in thinking that explosion was sent by one of the ship's sailors. Today's report stating the explosion could have been caused by loading gunpowder bags at higher than normal speeds. The Navy report concluded that gunner's mate Clayton Hartwig set off the blast, which killed 47 sailors. The Navy reopened its investigation of the USS Iowa yesterday. Actor Vic Tayback, probably better known to television viewers as Mel, the crusty diner owner in the TV show Alice, is dead tonight. Tayback's career included appearances on TV shows like Bonanza, Star Trek, Emergency, and Barney Miller, among others, before taking the role of Mel Sharples in Alice. According to his agent, Tayback had a history of heart problems, including a triple bypass several years ago. He died of a heart attack early this morning in his Southern California home. Vic Tayback was 60 years old. Still ahead tonight, low tide in Santa Cruz means an up-close tidal view for beachcombers. And in tonight's Health Beat report, a new weapon in the battle against colon cancer, vitamins.
Imagine this maxi.
It's clean and dry.
Really dry.
Well, it's called Always.
Always with dry weave.
It's incredible top sheet. Really incredible because it's got holes. Thousands of tiny holes like funnels. Little. They pull the moisture through.
It goes down and gets trapped, so the surface stays cleaner, much drier. Whoa! It's definitely for me.
It's called Always. It's a clean, dry feeling.
Always. Always. With dry weave.
Oh, yeah. Always.
At Shell, we've been taking good care of cars for a good long time. And while cars have changed, our philosophy has stayed the same. That's why today, every Shell Auto Care dealer guarantees his work with a nationwide warranty. And because Shell Auto Care is one of the largest networks of car repair centers, you'll never have to worry about finding someone who will take good care of your car for a good long time. So don't take chances. Take it to Shell Auto Care.
Pumpkin, we're out of pecone sauce.
Oh, well, here's more, sweetheart.
Honey, this ain't paste pecone sauce.
Well, what is the difference, darling?
Well, paste is made with fresh vegetables and spices by folks in San Antonio who know what picante sauce is supposed to taste like.
This stuff's made in New York City? New York City!
Well, y'all could get an annulment.
Pick up the original. Pick up the pace.
All I did was build a computer. Next thing you know, I own a company. It goes public, stock splits. I got a ton of money. Oh, I guess along the way, I turned into a real jerk. I just want to simplify things, you know? Get my values back. That's why I'm here.
I think you're doing the right thing. Now, based on those feelings, are we talking 2 doors or 4?
Tide pools on the Central Coast are opening up and letting humans catch a closer glimpse of underwater wonders. Lower than normal tides making it much easier to explore along the coast today. A kelp crab is just one of many creatures students from UC Santa Cruz were able to observe closely this morning. The marine biology class ventured to Pigeon Point around sunrise to take advantage of the lowest tides of the year.
So what kind of things do you hope to, I guess, get out of all this and waking up early and everything?
Well, for my students, this is a time for them to really see things that are hard to find. And it means also that we can work out here for several hours without getting wet. So it's a special time.
Here says the tides normally are low in May, but this year's minus tide is lower than seen in several years. Low waters will continue through the weekend. Here right now is Margot with tonight's Health Beat. New way to combat colon cancer.
Using a combination of techniques, Graham. Not too long ago, a diagnosis of colon cancer was nearly a death sentence. Today, advances in detection and therapy are slowly changing that verdict, and one new treatment promises a ray of hope even for those with advanced disease. Researchers say they have hopeful news for patients with colon cancer that has spread. A new way of combining a chemotherapy drug and a vitamin derivative produces twice the response rate with fewer side effects. Bill Brodak says the worst part of the treatment was tenderness of his skin.
Hands got very puffy and very sore.
Doctors already knew that leucovorin, a derivative of the B vitamin folinic acid, made the drug 5-fluorosil, or 5-FU, work better against colon cancer. This combination made tumors shrink to half their size in twice as many people as 5-FU alone.
If we have something that increases response rates from 25% to 50%, we're talking about large numbers of patients because it's a disease that hits a large number of patients.
But often the side effects were harsh. In this new study, patients are receiving the drugs differently. A continuous dose of 5-FU from a 24-hour infusion pump with a lower dose of leucovorin. Tumors responded just as well, and patients had better blood counts, less diarrhea. They did report irritation of the hands and lining of the mouth and nose.
On a relative scale, we think that this is a fairly well-tolerated therapy, that it doesn't cause the patient a great deal of discomfort.
For now, researchers are being hopeful but cautious.
Now, this does not mean that we are able to cure disseminated colon cancer, but it has pushed the median survival from 9 months to 18 months in at least one study.
That has been good news for Bill Brodak.
I would have to be pleased with the results.
And colon cancer is still the second most lethal malignancy. That comes behind lung cancer in the U.S.
Good to see a little bit of headway on that front. All right, thanks, Margot. Turning now for a look at what happened on Wall Street today. The stock market fell. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropping 34.5 points to close at 2820.92. Trading light, 121 million shares changing hands. Decliners leading gainers by 9 to 5. Many of today's investors skipping the market today to get a jump on the long holiday weekend. Straight ahead tonight, Jim will join us with a preview of the weekend weather forecast. Dell is in for Dennis with a roundup of today's sports action. And we'll wrap up our Caribbean Great Escape with shore leave to the island of Jamaica.
It's a super savings event. Signs and balloons will save you 30, 40, and 50% off the ticketed price. Saturday through Memorial Day Monday at JCPenney.
While my husband, Rick Mears, takes care of the company car, Pennzoil and I take care of the family car. And now, with the new Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book, you can save over $80 on helpful car care products. To get your free Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book and save over $80, just mail in 5 labels from bottles of quality Pennzoil.
When it comes to world-class protection and savings...
Pennzoil wrote the book on it.
Driving a little fast, aren't you, Chris?
Not only does the Anderson Frenchwood patio door add beauty to a room, no other French-style patio door is more weather-tight. In fact, there may be only one way air and moisture can get through it. Get this book of window and patio door ideas at these Anderson dealers.
Hayward Lumber, Pacific Grove, Scotts Valley Sash and Millwork, Scotts Valley, King City Glass, King City, Coast Counties Glass, Watsonville.
Now that the world is waking up to the environmental threat, corporate polluters and politicians are spending millions to turn back the clock. They call Propositions 118 and 119 reapportionment reform. It's a power grab that could let big business exploit our oceans, trees, and few remaining wilderness areas. Don't be fooled. The Sierra Club says no on 118, no on 119. Stop the reapportionment fraud.
Dodge knows how to move families. We practically reinvented family transportation with our bestseller Dodge Caravan. And with Dodge Spirit, we used all our know-how to build a great family sedan. Spirit gives your family available V6 power and more interior room than Honda Accord. But most importantly, it's priced to fit the family budget.
Now, your participating Dodge dealer has free family outings. You can get 2 free tickets to Marine World Africa USA or Water World USA with a test drive. Make the move to Dodge now.
Last we heard from Jim Vanderswan, it looked like most of the wetness was going to come somewhere around, what, Sunday and Monday?
Yeah, it's kind of changing a little bit. I'm going to go with Saturday night, Sunday, and then give a quick break on Monday, and then more later into the week. So, Graham, it's actually working out pretty good. It looks like only one day is going to be marginal, and the other 2 on each side aren't going to be all that bad. That's pretty good news for a weekend here. Now, we had a beautiful day today, just a few little high clouds as promised. That's about it. Pretty good strong winds there blowing off the east slopes of the Sierra Nevada once again as a subtropical jet works its way over California. The rest just some high clouds, and that's what you've been seeing in your sky for the last couple of hours or so. They really started making themselves known. Current temperatures have San Francisco in at 59, San Jose 69, and into the 70s and 80s in the Central Valley, 50s up the mountains, still hot in the deserts, and 60s and 70s along the Southern California coast. So all in all, a typical spring day. Elsewhere across the map, we've got one little frontal system still causing some problems, actually, right in the nation's midsection. Things quieted down. They had some horrendous weather over Montana, Wyoming, and Nebraska, and the Dakotas yesterday. Settling down a little bit. Just some thunderstorms with some rain. Some winds reported, wind damage, I should say, in parts of Kentucky and Tennessee in that area, and the rest is just some good rainfalls, welcome rains in the Ohio Valley. Florida is finally getting caught up in their wet after a little tropical depression down there is finally spinning up some moisture. And that little cell you see way over on the west coast is actually precipitation aloft. It's not really impacting us just yet. But there is a mess of moisture out there. It's trying to get itself organized. Those 2 purple lines, those broken lines, are what we call shortwave troughs. And the first one is nothing more than mid to high level clouds. The second one has a little bit more in the way of rain with it, but that's likely going to stay north of the Bay Area. That third front up there that's bearing down on us, that's the one I think will roll in around about Saturday night, Sunday. Even there, it's not going to be a total rain out for us. I'm only figuring on about 30 to 40% chance of rain from Salinas northwest to the south. That means you got a 70% chance of not getting rain. But it is going to feel a little like March. High clouds tomorrow after some morning low stuff. Saturday night, Sunday, that chance of rain. Monday will go to partly cloudy. Temperatures fluctuating accordingly. And with that, I wish everybody a good, safe weekend. And I want to wish you, Graham, lots of luck in your new endeavors coming here from all of us here in the Weather Department.
Well, that's appreciated very much, Jim.
It's been a pleasure, Guy.
Well, you've done a hell of a job yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks,
good luck.
Jim. All this week, we've been cruising the Caribbean with travel reporter Ricky Stevenson. Tonight, at her last port of call, she takes us to Jamaica.
When Columbus landed at Discovery Bay in 1500, he called it the fairest island eyes have seen.
Jamaica. This is by far the port with the most going on. Jamaica and Jamaicans are alive with sounds and colors and textures. This is one port you will remember.
The people are so friendly. The beaches are beautiful.
There's a golden 60-mile strip of resort beach along the northwest coast called Ocho Rios, not for 8 rivers, but for waterfalls flowing from interior rainforests down to the sea. The most famous is Dunn's River Falls, where $4 will get you a guided climb to the top.
We were a little worried it might be a little wild, but it was good enough.
Hire a taxi or a van to go to Shaw Park for its vista, or Fern Gully, snaking up a narrow mountain road where blaring horns are essential. Jamaica Helitours provides the best view, $40 for a 30-minute ride. They're unique little duty-free shopping malls, but you'll find the better buys and a chance to get close to the people at the crafts markets. Getting close can also mean getting hassled and hustled, so be prepared. Jamaican food is good, plentiful, and spicy. Stop at a roadside restaurant for a slow-cooked jerk barbecue, about $8 for a big plate. For the ultimate Jamaica cool-out, take the rafting trip down the White River, $25 for 2 people. Cruising the Caribbean is cheaper than cruising the Mediterranean or Alaska. It's a great way for first-time visitors to this part of the world to sample different islands and perhaps make plans for a return visit. Ricky Stevenson, Action News 8.
We're going to cruise over to the sports office right now. Dell is in for Dennis. As a part of a clarification, Dell is the person on the right. I don't know about the guy on the left. What's up, Dell?
Well, Grant, we're going to get to that guy on the left a little bit later. In basketball, Los Angeles Clippers have been searching and searching for a new head coach, and they finally make an announcement. Mike Schuler, who was the assistant coach at Golden State, has been named the new coach of the LA Clippers. Schuler held the head coaching job at Portland back in 1986 when he was named the NBA Coach of the Year. Now, the following season, Schuler was fired by Portland after going 25-22 that season. Mike Schuler has compiled a record of 127-84 while being a head coach. In golf, at the Seniors Tour, Arnold Palmer turned in a magnificent shot today. Here on the 16th, Palmer gets his 5-iron to almost give him the eagle, but he would settle for the bird. Last year's champ, Dave Hill, is one of the second-round co-leaders. Hill with a par putt there to finish at 67 on the day. David Hill is tied with his brother Mike Hill and Lee Trevino. In baseball, there was only one game scheduled for early action. It was Houston and Chicago, but it was rained out. The Giants are playing Pittsburgh right now. The Giants are leading 4-0. Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell sent one out of the stadium. And the A's will host Cleveland tonight at 7:30. That's a look at sports. Before we get out of here, Graham, this is your last show, and I just wanted to say goodbye to you.
See, let that be a lesson to you. That's what can happen if you take too many steroids there, Dell. Right there.
Okay, that's what it is.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Dell, and the other guy, whoever that is. Just ahead. Would you believe anything tonight? Would you believe a theme park war? Well, they're waging them in Florida, where Walt Disney World is no longer the only game in town. And tonight, for your information, Harvey, a comedy about an imaginary 6-foot rabbit, plays tonight at 8:30 at the Wharf Theater, and that is located in Monterey.
It's Burdick's 46th annual Memorial Day weekend sale with huge savings on stereo, video, TV appliances. Remote control VCRs, $199. Canon or Sony camcorders, your choice, $799 each. It's 0% financing on Mitsubishi TVs, VCRs, and big screens. Refrigerator rebates up to $100. Huge savings, 0% financing, rebates. Burdick's 46th annual Memorial Day sale through Monday.
Your best buys at Burdick's. Your best buys at Burdick's.
Where the customer comes first, always.
You've got 1,000 things to do every day. We've got 250,000 ads to help you get it done.
Excuse me, Dad.
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages. More ads. More information. More help.
Traveling is great for people, but not for eggs. Protect your family from 2,000-mile-old eggs.
Look for the California Fresh Egg symbol on the carton. It's your guarantee your eggs are fresh.
California Fresh Eggs come from local California farms, and Big T and Value King are proud to carry California Fresh Eggs exclusively.
Throughout my career, I've always tried to speak my mind, and I haven't been afraid to rock the boat. That doesn't sit well with some people. I stepped on some big toes when I put wealthy slumlords and corporate polluters in jail, and I've offended more than one downtown politician. But under my leadership, we have the highest felony conviction rate in the history of the district attorney's office. I don't spend a lot of time trying to please everyone. I spend my time doing my job.
A move over, Mickey Mouse. Here comes Universal Studios Florida. Universal's 444-acre Hollywood-style attraction has just opened up down the road from Walt Disney's MGM theme park. Reporter John Holden tells us this time it just might be theme park wars.
Even after 75 years of movie-making history, you can still see it in these famous Hollywood faces, the anticipation that something new and exciting is ready to take flight. Yes, Universal Studios Florida is about to open, the biggest motion picture and television studio outside of Hollywood. Over 440 acres and $600 million worth of movie-making magic, and a chance to walk down backlot sets from New York to Hollywood, filled with famous faces. Who are you now?
I'd like to introduce you to my brother Marilyn Monroe, my other brother Humphrey Bogart, and I am a Hubert Hoover.
And most certainly, famous places.
This is the famous Hollywood Brown Derby, only here at Universal Studios Florida.
And this is the entrance to New York's Pennsylvania Station, and the largest soundstage in the entire country, and a good place to confront the largest monster in motion picture history. Call it a confrontation. John Holden, Channel 4 News.
What an act of fall. It is always difficult to say goodbye. I've done it before like this. I'll do it again someday, but it's never easy to get used to. After all, we've been getting together like this for 2 years at 5 o'clock, another year's worth on the weekends. Indeed, there are fond memories, stepping right in the frying pan, so to speak, of the devastating Pebble Beach fire, peering through the pre-dawn hours of Laguna Seca at the Pope, the fun and frolic of the rodeo and the Big Hat barbecue, and the people I will miss, from the farmers of the Salinas Valley to the fishermen in Monterey, to the shop owners in Santa Cruz. You've all been wonderful, treated me very well, never an unkind thing to say. And through these business acquaintances, friends I will miss indeed. And finally, I'd like to thank KSBW-TV and former boss Michael Cronley and general manager Jeff Lee for putting up with an immature kid as he blossomed into something a little more palatable. They gave me an opportunity and they gave me the ball and I ran with it. So now it's time to hand off to someone else. And I hope you show Beverly Byer as much respect and viewership as you gave to me. I've always been one to drag out long goodbyes. Parting is sweet sorrow. But if you're ever down in San Diego, I'll see you there. Thank you. Up next, we'll check in with Dave Gonzalez for a preview of Action News 8 at 6. Stay with us. That's all the news there is for now for this Friday, May 25th, 1990. Once again, thank you very much for watching. It has been a pleasure. Health and happiness to you all. Good night. And for the last time, at 5 o'clock, goodbye.
Dozens killed as Colombia's drug barons terrorize voters.
Standing by live with an update, an overall look and an update at what's going on at this moment. Graham?
Joe, Margot, it was a glorious day for about 60 to 70,000 people, a disastrous day for about 30,000 others. Some of them are still here. According to a Papal visit source, up to 30,000 people were turned away from going to the park because there were not enough buses, that only 100 of the 900 buses even showed up, and incredibly, that a transportation contract was never entered into. Papal visit officials won't confirm the reports tonight. Still, the event itself was a sight to behold.
Laguna Seca at dawn was picture perfect. Laguna Seca 1 hour later was shrouded in a cloak of fog. But by 9:30, the fog had lifted, and all eyes were fixed on the most dynamic Pope in recent history.
Excitement here, a subtle excitement, a buzz like no other. Almost in unison, the crowd will stand and cheer or wave at the pontiff. A certain sense of serene calm engulfs Laguna Seca, filling it with an almost surreal, inexplicable feeling of warmth and peace.
The mood, deeply reflective. Some of the faithful joined in song. Others merely stood and listened, almost in awe. The pontiff's sermon, a hard-hitting warning.
Be careful not to forget the Lord, your God.
As expected, Pope John Paul II discussed the importance of agriculture and hard work. He urged the crowd to work together towards solidarity.
May the Lord's face shine on this land, on the church in Monterrey, and on all America, from sea to shining sea. Amen.
Following Mass, it was a helo ride to Carmel and rave reviews from the faithful. Your impressions of the Mass today?
Oh, it was wonderful. John Paul really gave a good Mass to all the people here.
Oh, it was wondrous. It was once in a lifetime happening. I feel very, I don't know. I just don't have any words for it.
Pretty much the response across the board today. Too bad for the people who were denied access to the park. Now, for those people who are still here, they're trying to get home, and one of them is Brian Little of Hanford, California. He is trying to get home right now. And Brian, how long have you been waiting to try and get back to where you belong?
Since about 1:30.
What have they been telling you?
They've been saying the parking lot up here is too crowded. They can't get the buses in to take the people out.
So what do you think of the whole situation here? Was it worth coming up here and going through all this?
Oh, it was still worth to see the Pope.
But a little bit ticked off about the transportation situation.
Yeah, I would like to get home.
Okay, good luck, Brian, and we hope you will get home. I'm sure you will. It's just a matter of when. Joe and Margot, Captain Chatterton of the Monterey County Sheriff's Department probably put it best. When I asked him what was going on, he said the transportation system here has totally collapsed, and now it is up to the Sheriff's Department to try and piece this thing back together.
Now, Graham, a couple of the people I talked to down there, down below us, said that they were from out of town, and a big part of the problem was that some of the regular charter buses had been commandeered, more or less, for shuttle buses, and that left a lot of out-of-towners out of luck. Are most of the people down there from points distant, or are they from this area?
Right now, most of the people I have talked to are from points far away, mostly Central California or maybe even Northern California, and they're just stuck, and they are waiting for some sort of word of when they're going to get out of here. When it's going to happen isn't known right now. The Sheriff's Department figures that maybe up to half the people are still here.
Doesn't look like it'll be anytime soon either. Thank you very much, Graham.
Let's hope it happens before dark. Communion. Not that many buses out there. The roads, however, are still closed, so let's take a look at some of those road closures on the Monterey Peninsula today. Getting to work this morning is probably proving a lot more difficult than usual. Here's a look at some of the main road closures today. Highway 1 near the Carmel Mission is closed, as is Highway 68.